All right, guys, I hope you're doing really well. I'd love to hear from you on the chat line there. What are you grateful for? What are your intentions for today? What are some of the great gratitudes that you have? Let's see if we have any comments so far, actually. Oops, wrong button. One from Tim. Good morning, Tim. Thank you. Defy the odds. I love it. Guys, get some thoughts on there. It's so good to share. I can't tell you how much it helps. I've written on the board behind me, strategically around my big head, the foundation of real estate, right? Your purpose, your why. Certainly, we're going to talk about your business plan, your schedule, your mindset, your discipline, accountability, skill sets, and systems and strategies. This is the topic, and these 6 items are at the very core of almost everything I want to talk about. I also did, oh, you can't even see it. There's a little tree there, darn it. Holiday Christmas tree. Anyway, I have to tell you guys, one of the other things, I don't know if you were paying close enough attention during the affirmations, but there's an affirmation that says, I use information to help my clients achieve their goals. And I got to tell you, I just said and shouted in our training room on the 6th floor of Union Park, I use information to help my clients achieve their clothes. My mouth was still stuck together, so I have to love that. I use information to help my clients achieve their clothes. Man, all right. Well, guys, I'm pumped to be with you this morning. Happy Friday. Wow, we are coming so close to the end of 2020. We are going to keep doing morning ascents really all the way up till December 30th. And so we'll be connecting with you, of course, throughout the holidays and stuff. But as I sit here today and I look out at snowy Salt Lake City, just grateful to have been a part of this great journey throughout this year with every one of you and the morning meetings. And a huge shout out to Mr. Russ Orchard, he's been at every morning ascent with a very little exception, handling the behind the scenes stuff. So thank you, Russ, so much. You're incredible. Just want to talk today about a few things. Here we are, kind of getting in and look, after spending nearly 15 years in the world of helping agents, building a company, coaching, training, speaking, and having many, many, many one-on-one sessions with agents, I know what starts to happen this time of year. Agents tend to settle in a little bit, which is okay, right? It's totally okay. It's a good time to be with family, friends, and all that good stuff. The key thing is, can you make sure to not take your eye off the prize? And given the realities of our business and what we do, remember that there's a lot of people right now who are starting to slow down a little bit. They're starting to reflect a little bit on what their year has been like, what they want next year to be like, the goals and the things of that nature that they have. And as you think about this and consider this, I think it's critical to consider how important when you're prospecting, when you are engaging with people, when you're talking to your SOI, how essential it is that that's being an emotional experience, right? You're going to get farther if you're creating some emotion there. Last time I did the morning ascent, I talked about connection and connecting with people. Here's what I find interesting. There's a lot of emotion going on right now. There's a lot of people that want to talk about what the future is going to bring, what their year looks like. What an incredible time to suddenly pop up on someone's phone and just simply ask the great question, hey, do you have any real estate needs in the upcoming year? Have you considered buying or selling? Do you know what the value of your home is right now? I mean, whatever question you want to ask, I can't think of a better time than for people to actually be open to having that discussion with you. So right now is an incredible time to do that. And of course, I've got the foundation written up here, and I'm thinking a lot right now about, and I hope you are as well, what does 2021 look like? And as I know you're going to have some downtime over the next couple of weeks, I know you're going to work hard Monday through Wednesday, but I'm certain that you're going to work hard today and on the weekend and all that good stuff. But look, I know that probably next weekend will be a little easier going. The following weekend with New Year's will be a great gear up to the new year. So I wanted to offer a few thoughts to you and a few things that I would be looking at and what I am looking at, but just more if I was selling real estate full time, what would I be focusing on right now? And a lot of this comes down to our second item in the foundation, which is your business plan and your schedule, and taking a look at what is my plan for next year. And gosh dang it, these things are so united and combined that I have to tell you, I'm not going to focus on this today, but for a moment, it is impossible for you to confront someone else or yourself, look in the mirror and confront yourself, unless you know what it is they want or you want. So, wow, what a time to be establishing your why. What is it that you want? What do you want to accomplish in 2021? What do you want the year to look like? What financial goals do you have? And there's a great book from John C. Maxwell, and he talks about the 5 intentions that you might have, or the intentional living. I actually think that might be the name of the book. I'll get the name of it for you. If someone has it, you can put it up front. It's 5 items. Now I can't think if it's intentional living or something like that, but a few of us on the leadership team and from the company did go to a John C. Maxwell event last year. I think it was really cool to see someone that I've listened to for years and had a lot of respect for. And as I listened to what he was saying, he talks about what are your intentions in the areas of your life. And I think if we were to sit down and break that down based on what we teach and learn so much here at Everest, you'd look at your health, your wealth, and your relationships. And if you were to break those items down and be looking at things like, okay, what health goals do you have for 2021? What's your game plan there? Number 2, what wealth goals, right? I think you could be looking at investments, your working, your career, all of those items. And then, of course, relationships, whether that's your relationship with God or a higher power or something, your relationship with your significant other, or creating a relationship with a significant other, your family, children, parents. You know, I've had this in my journal where I write questions out like, boy, even from like, okay, what kind of a brother do I want to be? What kind of a friend do I want to be? What kind of a son do I want to be? And those are great things for you to start going down that pathway and be looking at. And so look, get your pen. If you don't have one and don't own one yet, go purchase yourself a nice journal, right? Go to Barnes & Noble, spend 30 or 40 bucks and have a nice journal. It's one of my favorite possessions that I have are the journals that I've kept because there's something physical that I can hold in my hand. And I remember when I first bought my journal, when I first started that, because I have like a big office box that you can buy. I have one of those full of those yellow legal notepads with like 3 or 4 pages used on each one, or 100 pages used, or I mean, they are a mess, but they're all my notes from previous years. And it was so cool when I finally got this journal, and over the course of a year, I mean, a big thick journal like that filled out the entire book. And I still used my original one as a reference for a lot of things. So make certain that, I mean, boy, I would make that an item today that you commit to getting. If you don't have one, like make that an action item today. Like, I'm going to get my journal. And as you start to look at what that business plan can and should look like, remember, you're going to want to look in the rearview mirror a little bit. You're going to want to take a look and see, what did I accomplish in 2020? What was done there? How did I do in one of the most white hot markets we have ever seen? And then what you're going to want to do is be able to take a moment and reflect. How was my schedule? When did I show up to the office? If I could, right? I love that question. It happens. If I could go back, what would I do differently? Or the other one that sometimes we do is, if I had only, right? If I had only done, fill in the blank, perhaps my end of the year would look a little bit differently. Great questions, great things for you to be reviewing. But boy, my encouragement today, first thing this morning, is get yourself that journal, get committed to the idea of doing some serious reflection over the course of the next couple of weeks, because we'll be back in the office. I don't know what it is, January 4th, I think, is the first day, kind of a weird year on timing. January 4th, first day, boy, what a shame if you show up January 4th going, okay, what am I going to do this year? So take the time and look. I know I'm preaching to the choir because I'm on the group of people who are waking up early, committed to their success and committed to getting better. But I hope that you'll take this challenge and make it serious. So from a business planning standpoint, I want to hit something with you today that I love to talk about because I think it's one of the most essential parts. And the people who do what I'm about to share you, it makes the very biggest difference in their career, without question, in getting going from a business plan. Erase my beautiful tree that nobody could see. And I'm going to see here, but I'm going to write down a word that people love and love to hate. Right, I'm writing down prospect and I wrote down connect. Who do you connect with? How do you prospect? And many years ago, I had this thought as I actually was meeting with a top producing agent, and you can look around you, maybe it's you yourself, but I realized they have some answers to some questions that if we all had answers to, we would be better off. And that any agent that takes the time to answer these questions will be better off. And the questions are really simple, guys. It's who, what, where, when, why, and how. These are the great questions that we've talked about for years. I've shared this for years, but imagine for a moment, right? If you think of anyone that's closing deals, and man, I was just reviewing some of our numbers yesterday for both California and Utah. It is so amazing to see some of the great things that people are accomplishing. And as I looked at those numbers and I looked at the names attached to them, I couldn't help but see this across my face and go, wow, I know with certainty those individuals have answers to these questions. So if you have a pen and paper out, look, I just write this down and get ready to put it into your journal if you don't already have that set up. But just write down prospecting and who, what, when, where. Sorry, I'm messing it up myself. Who, what, where, when, why, how. And start to ask yourself some of these questions like prospecting. Who am I prospecting to? I could spend an hour and a half to 2 hours to 5 hours going in great depth on this question. If you've spent any time with me in any training, and have participated with me in this great exercise where you look at all of the different methods for prospecting, right? What are all of the different types of lead sources? I think you could, if I'm just naming a few off the top of my head, we're going to look at your sphere of influence, FSBOs, expireds, just listed, just solds. You've got door knocking, cold calling, networking. You could do farming, web leads, right? The list goes on, and there's a gazillion other ways that you can do it. But as you look at that and consider it, ask yourself, who do I prospect to? Who's on your business plan? Who is your, what lead source are you so committed to and to worrying and to focusing on this upcoming year? And here's my advice to you. Pick 2 to 3 only, 2 to 3 lead sources, and just become the expert at them. Dominate, be totally committed to making sure that you are totally becoming the expert. I don't care what it is. If it's sphere of influence, figure out, here's how I could be the #1 best SOI agent, right? Because my SOI expects me to be their real estate expert. If it's FSBOs, figure out what works, what doesn't. There are catalogs of movies on YouTube that are phenomenal about people making these phone calls. What works, what doesn't work. Expired, same thing, right? Whatever it is you may choose to do, my greatest challenge is to take just 2 or 3, be committed to working those for a minimum, very minimum of 90 days every day, and just plan on becoming the master. Truly, like, SOI should be on that category for everyone. People have said over the years, well, I don't have an SOI. I'm a transplant to this area. Then it becomes your opportunity to to create an SOI. You know, how awesome is that? You get to build a sphere of influence from the ground up. But even if you're just building it, you do have an SOI somewhere. So market to them. Use our phenomenal and robust relocation system to be marketing to your SOI. There are people who make so much money every year, and all they do is click a button and send a name and number over because they're marketing to people all over. So whatever that is, right? Everyone should dominate their SOI. Number two, pick one other thing. Pick one other thing that you're so committed to, and you can answer that question. Look, guys, we're just through who right now, but who is it that you're going to prospect to? Who are you committed? And then you go to what? There's so many things, but the one that I love to talk about, what are you going to say? What is it that you're going to say? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Right? Hopefully, you know your number one objective on this call or this door knock or this text or whatever is to create an opportunity to set an appointment. So you know what your objective is. Do you know what you're going to say? Again, we have some great scripts. You have great scripts in your possession from the company. Use them. If there's something else you've been using for years, I just always love to challenge you to write that down. Call it your script. Own it. Don't just say it because you've always said it. Create a script so that you have that down pat and it's part of who you are. Here's what I learned when I finally figured that out, because look, I was shooting from the hip when I was a brand new agent and just kind of learning what to say. And I liked what I was saying. I'm personable, I'm energetic, enthusiastic, and I felt like I could get through it. But boy, it was so cool because I did fine on the phone. But once I started writing down my script for FSBOs, which was simple, right? It was, hey, is this the homeowner? I'm calling about the home for sale. I just wanted to see if it was still available. It is. That's great. Hey, I was calling to reach out to see when I might have an opportunity to come by and share a marketing strategy with you, or the purpose of my call. Look, the moment that I started writing down the script is when I started to get better. I started taking ums and ahs out. I started being able to focus on sales 202, which is going to be upswings, downswings, level shifts, right? And all of those types of things, making sure I'm matching tonality, volume, rate of speed, pace of speech, stuff like that. It makes a big difference. So what are you going to say? Where and when? I love. Where and when are you prospecting? Is it going to be in the mornings? Is it going to be in the midday, evening? Perhaps more than any other question over my career in real estate, it has been this one. When is the best time to call? And you know what's crazy is the number one best answer is probably the most cliche answer, which is whenever you're going to actually do it, okay? We hear that all the time, but the best time to call, guys, is first thing in the morning. There's no question about it. There are fewer distractions in your life. You're going to be able to create a better habit by saying I'm doing it first thing in the morning. So the best time to prospect is to get up, get to the office, and make your phone calls. No question about it. Where should you practice? Where should you be prospecting? You should be prospecting in a place that motivates you, a place that you like to be, a place that has your goals and your dreams around you. Have a vision board up. You should be prospecting in a place that you can be comfortable, a place where you can stand up, a place where you can be loud. And boy, we have about 1,000 of those spaces throughout all over our office buildings. Get yourself set up somewhere in one of the cubicles, whatever it might be. I hear people complain all the time that a cubicle is not the best spot and I'm too loud for a cubicle or it's too disruptive around a cubicle. You guys, I have seen people make hundreds of thousands of dollars each year standing in a cubicle next to a printer, by the way, where everyone's walking. Where and when are you going to do the job? It's critical. And then, of course, why? Look, we go back to the idea of, you can look at this a few different ways. Why are you making the calls? It's so important for you to have that mindset driven in you. finding a way to connect the dots as to, wow, when I make these calls, my bank account gets better, my happiness on the job gets better, job satisfaction, life just gets better, and I get closer to accomplishing my dreams. Look, there's no secret there that getting on the phone and calling people can be a challenge, that some elements of it aren't as exciting as others, right? There's no secret there, but some of it is just a massive amount of attitude. And for me, it's always rip the band-aid off, right? It is a matter of when you just say, I'm doing it, you rip the band-aid off, you start calling. I cannot tell you how many times, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of times where I was dreading getting on the phone and trying to come up with some excuse to not, but because I had some accountability in place or whatever, I did it. And boy, you make one call, two calls, and you're in and you're committed. And all of a sudden, an hour goes by, 2 hours goes by, and you're good. It just comes down to what your commitment level is. Figuring out your why is critical. I see Rick Bentley on here. I have a phenomenal picture of this guy prospecting. He was sick. This was pre-COVID, so we weren't worried. Guy was feeling so ill and not doing well. And I walked by the cubicle that he was making calls in, and Rick is laying down on the ground, making phone calls, eyes closed, right? He wasn't bouncing on a trampoline or anything, but I actually remember, I think I was walking by him and he's like, if you can just hand me my phone or something, I'll be good. Like, he was making his calls, no excuses. His why was big enough, but I loved that, Rick. That was an awesome day. So funny stuff, but boy, prospecting can be a ton of fun. If you've ever prospected with me, one of the takeaways that is very common from people is like, wow, that was fun. You were kind of loose and made it a fun experience. It wasn't as scary and it was all good. So do that. Get someone to do it with you. It's incredible. And then how? Look, it's a matter of just role play. How are you doing it? What are you saying? How are you doing it? All the skills that you need involved. I mean, my gosh, you've got your script book. You should have a copy of that. And it just helps you know exactly what you're saying, when you're saying it. But guys, this is, to me, as you're beginning this year, as you're considering what 2021 is going to look like, as you're spending time over the next 2 weeks, creating and refining your business plan, I hope that you'll get serious about establishing the who, what, when, where, why, and how of prospecting. Because nothing will make a bigger impact on your career outside of establishing what you want than really diving in on this prospecting chart. And I said earlier, you could talk to so many real estate agents and people who are doing this. And I hope that, you know, when you think about these people, that you're looking at them and inspired, people who are doing it daily and they figured something out as it relates to prospecting. Interesting thing, I promise they have these questions answered. Who are you calling? What are you saying? Where are you prospecting from each day? What time and when do you prospect? What's the reason that you're calling? What's your motivation? Why should somebody work with you? What separates you from the competition? Why is it important? And how? How do you do it? Right? You could go with the what do you say? What's the process? Right? Think of all the different elements of that. But I'm telling you right now, it works like a charm. And if you can simply answer these questions, right? Just answer them and have an answer to them and do it for a day and then for a week and then a couple of weeks. And it's becoming a habit. Guys, 2021 will be one of the best years of your life. I can promise you that, from a work, financial, and all that good stuff. So guys, it's been great to be with you this morning. It's been awesome to be doing this all year. I'm not sure if I'm doing any more morning ascents the rest of the year. So that's why I'm kind of like saying that. I think I will be, but I don't know for sure. So, but I really hope that you'll get committed to the idea for certain of getting some business plans created and refined over the course of the next couple of weeks. Make certain that you're including in that your prospecting objectives, the who, what, where, when, why, and how. Answer those questions and watch great things happen. It's awesome to be with you today. Let's get some closing affirmations.